It's the smallest RV I've ever seen do this before.
Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd of Bish's RV back down here at Ember today, getting a hold of this new 18 RBE. And this is the smallest camper I've ever personally seen with washer-dryer hookups. And what's cool is beyond that, this is just a really good, smaller, lighter, more affordable camper where maybe if you've got like a mid-size pickup or a larger SUV, or you just don't want a gigantic monster camper to pull behind your half-ton. This would be a really solid solo or couples kind of arrangement right here. This is a member of the E-Series Spark family, which is the most basic of the Ember offerings. But the thing is that makes it sound like it's cheap and entry level. The most basic of an Ember is still pretty swanky as compared to the industry average. Like, this still has Goodyear tires. They're still using Asdel on the outer shell of the RV. But what the difference defines this one is that it just has prep for a lot of things and a lot of options that you can apply to it. Like, there's optional solar, optional heat pads for the holding tanks, those kind of things. So if you really want to trick it out, you can do that. Or if you're like, I just need something a little more simple and basic for a little bit of casual park camping every now and then, this would be a good fit. But what's crazy about this is they use a full-size body on a smaller size camper. You might notice it's a single axle model, and that does force them to an east-west front bed, which I know is a deal breaker for some folks, but I respect that Ember still made it a 60 by 80 true queen bed. But it's still 8 foot wide. It's 6'10" tall inside, so it's taller than most other travel trailers out there, even in the luxury travel trailer segment. They still have that 18,000 BTU Furrion air conditioner in there. And with a full deep slide, you have the choice between a dinette or a theater seat or a hide-a-bed. It has a huge bathroom, extra tall shower, obviously the washer dryer prep, heated belly, hitch on the back. Like, this is a deceptively well-equipped little camper where if you're looking for like a mobile studio apartment, folks, I think you found it.
And this is kind of what I was saying right here. It's a full-size, single-axle, smaller camper. And those are phrases that don't always go together in the RV industry. Where it really begins is they don't make their E-Series Sparks smaller. Like, it's still a 6'10" floor-to-ceiling clearance. That's 4 inches taller than nearly anything else in this class and category. It's essentially unparalleled in that regard. It's also still a full 8 foot wide, which there's plenty of other 8 wide single axles, but not extra tall ones like this. And a lot of your single axle stuff has small, shallow slides that are designed to float just above the wheel well. You might notice, if I can slide my way around the corner over here, that's not the case here. This has basically the floor hovering version of the exact slide system. And what there's some benefits that it means that you have the choice between the theater seat that's optional that we're looking at today, the standard dinette. I believe you could even do a hide-a-bed, but when the exact slide is closed, it's one of the only slide systems that allows you to occupy the slide while it is retracted. So that's the only slide system Ember uses, and it provides some of those additional travel benefits. Like, this RV will, I'm estimating, be about 99% travel functional with the slides closed. Moving on from there, the Withco thing that you're seeing, that is the remote for the inverter that is mounted slightly jihad. If I say something, or if I see something, I say something. That's not mounted completely straight the way it's supposed to be. And I know the folks at Ember, when the executive type people see this, it's going to absolutely grind their gears. But they are really good about taking that stuff in stride and applying that as opportunities to realize that, where they can improve a little bit. So moving around from there, we have all pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry. You might notice the nice hidden hinges going around here. The E-Series is, especially the Spark that we're in, it's small enough they just do not have the opportunity for a propane oven. And I know that's like basically an instant deal breaker for some folks. So I'd rather just talk about it, get it out of the way, What we do have over here, though, is my old buddy, Steve the Stovetop. Because if you look, kind of looks like a little bit of a Lego figurine staring at you right there. You know, haven't seen Steve's smiling face in a while. Good to see you, buddy. Every now and then, if he's had a couple drinks, one of those knobs has turned a little bit. Looks like you know, he's having a bit of a rough day, but we love him through it regardless. Up here, their command center has one of those handy little motion sensors, so that it'll activate, you know, the backlighting when you need it to, but it won't always be there. Like some people are very light sensitive at night, you know. But you know, your ceiling lighting, awning lighting, all that stuff is available right here. Accent lighting. You didn't see anything turned on when I clicked that, but when I back up and I look all the way down, you'll see a handy little amber glow in the Ember RV. And this is kind of your little welcome home light, nighttime navigation light. You know, they have it right down low, so it's indirect, but it helps you see where you need to see when you need to see it, kind of situation, like whether it's getting to the bathroom at night or coming in and out of the RV. Household and USB plugs over there. The remote control on the wall is for our 18,000 BTU Furrion Chill Cube air conditioner. Those have become intensely popular. And Ember was the first manufacturer to ever use one of those in a production model. Let's see here. You know, it's occurring to me. This RV has a distinct lack of campsite window coverage. That is something that I've found to be the case in several Ember RVs for sure. It's not that some people have said, what do they have against campsite windows? They have nothing against campsite windows. It's just the floor plans they happen to be building aren't really conducive to a lot of campsite windows. Like you look at the entry door in the E-Series, it's just a flat entry door with no window. The good news is actually adding a window into that is surprisingly easy. So if that's something that you are looking for, let our team know. That kind of comes down to a little bit of what I call a screwdriver, probably a little bit of Sawzall in there, but adding a window to that door at our store, really not difficult. Based on your feedback, they did decide to leave this storage under the bed open right here. I like the idea that it looks and it feels open, but also very handy for extra totes or anything like that, but they left the bottom trim in there. I'm gonna sneeze, hold on. Okay, all right, better. Sorry about that. Apparently there's some kind of dust down here up in the air that just got me going. You might notice it's not a centralized furnace system where like with floor heat ducting or anything like that. A small camper like this, it just pumps the heat into the main room. That's your converter fuse box down there. Now around the corner, you might notice how the bed doesn't exactly come up to the refrigerator area. And I thought about that. And I wonder if that wouldn't be like a really handy area to be able to like put a like stand a broom or something like that, or depending on what you're looking for, like set a baseball bat over in the corner in case a gas station murderer hobo knocks on the door at the end of the day. I haven't seen a lot of entertainment. I don't think this is the kind of camper a lot of people are going to go super TV crazy for, but all your hookups would be over here. Obviously you got the TV backer space on the wall, and this is there's an optional TV for it. I'm going to make a pass back through in just a second and get all this storage open for you here. Before I do that, though, I do want to mention this is a 60 by 80 true queen bed, and it looks small. But because in a lot of times in a single axle camper, when you see an east-west bed, you usually have a narrow body camper with a short queen. This is a 60 by 80 residential queen. You can put any queen you want in it. You have to crawl over one another, potentially, at night. So you better know each other biblically, basically, is what I'm saying. But the good news there is any mattress you want to slap in this sucker, it is readily capable of accepting. Little details, too, like I like how they included that extra light in the slide box when you're in a smaller single axle segment. Not every manufacturer does that. The blackout roller shades. You know, again, they call this E-Series, meaning Essential Series, but it's deceptively well equipped. And I don't think the E-Series name actually really kind of represents what you're looking at here necessarily. That little, I'm going to call it like a coffee bar over there, is I think a very underrated handy space in this RV, because it's right across from the door. It gives you a perfect place to walk in and set stuff down. But you got, you know, all your power plugs and everything right there. A little bit of bonus storage going on above it. This is our 18,000 BTU air conditioner right here. And if you talk to people that have had one, they are, I've been in these when they're running. They are quiet. Like they are, what I'll say is conversationally quiet. where you can sit in the RV with that thing running and still have a normal conversation and not have to have any sort of major, mega crank the TV up kind of shouting situations. And I'm going to see if I can give you the full-on storage 360. And I want to start in this back corner because I think this is one of the most interesting and exciting aspects of the RV. But when the cabinet doors are all closed up, you don't really see it. Like when we get back here, what you see is that this can be extra closet space. There are dual magnet hold-back flip-up shelves where if you want to make this a gigantic pantry area, you can. Obviously, they have a little jacket hanger on the back of it. I've got my vest hanging there for us. And this is big and deep because if you want, you can turn this into a fully enclosed laundry scenario because you've got your washer-dryer hookups right down there. Now, by default, the way that it's kind of cross-segmented, this is going to be basically directly easily applied to a combo unit. But I'm thinking, if you take out this middle shelf that we're looking at right there, I see absolutely no reason why you wouldn't be able to put a stackable in this. Now, in some of my videos, I've made a very big point to mention that rear wall mounted washer dryers are not always an ideal scenario. Usually I say that when we're in a nearly 40-foot fifth wheel that has like a 15-foot overhang over the past the rear axles. This RV doesn't have that. I'm not worried about the bouncing on the back of this RV because it's not going to be nearly as violent. And again, this is air fryer, convection, electric microwave, 1, 2, 3 oven combo right there in this one because they do not have the opportunity for a propane, oven system. I believe the touring edition, those are the only Embers that actually will have that. I really like the nice big wide open space for some serious trash can area right there. I've had some people watch my videos and say, why are you always talking about trash cans? Because every single day, I need to use a trash can. And so many RVs, big, small, and in between, provide you absolutely no capacity to throw anything away unless you want to tie Walmart bags to all of your cabinetry. And that's the little stuff that I look for. This is a full 10 cubic foot, 12-volt compressor fridge. I want to mention that because there's a lot of manufacturers right now that are finding little ways to reduce price tags on things. And one of the silent ways they're doing that is by going to an 8 cubic foot 12-volt fridge and never really telling anybody about that. You just find out later if you read the tag. This is a deceptively good amount of storage up here, which is important because there's not a lot of storage around an east-west bed usually. But notice the metallic struts and the nicer, again, hidden hinges right here. And this is another thing they did based on your feedback that I think was really, really smart. They have this full big headboard and there's storage in it, but based on your input, they decided to split the lift on this. And if you notice, there's a couple things right here. There's these little rubber grommets that actually drop down into the pass-through. So if you actually even want to run like a Starlink antenna outside and fish the cable indoors to the modem, you have the ability to do that here. So that's the cool thing about E-Series, is that they call it Essential Series. I almost think of it as a potentially everything series, but it's just a really smart base model that you can kind of build up onto as a matter of personal preference. They've done a lot of really cool things here. Now, once again, remember, today we're looking at the theater seat. The standard in this is the booth dinette. So you have your choice on seating, and I think there might be a hide-a-bed option. I'd be kind of curious, which one would you prefer to see if you were the one purchasing this RV? Like, what would be your seat o' choice, as it were? Leave me a note or don't. I can't tell you what to do. Moving on from there, one of the things I know folks are looking for is bathroom privacy. And you might notice how this does not have that peekaboo I smell you bathroom door. What it does have is this chubby creep with a camera staring at me over there in the bathroom. And if he doesn't chill, might have a problem. Don't start none, won't be none. Moving on from there, porcelain foot flush stool, because again, I don't think the name E-Series, meaning essentials, necessarily applies here, because they're doing so many things like, big stainless sink. That's a nicely sized, like adult hand stainless sink in there that a lot of brands just don't do, The linen like towel space over here, it is open face, but I'm going to give them a pass on it because it is narrow. that will tend to keep stuff in there the way it's supposed to. And take a look at this. The headroom in the shower is excellent. With a 6'10" floor to ceiling clearance, even if you're a little over 6 foot like me, plenty of headroom in there. Nice rectangular shower. Now, their vent fan's not a big giant fan, but it is a Max Air variety. It actually has a roof rain prevention cover built directly onto it, which is kind of a handy, nice little feature right there. What I haven't done is actually opened up all the cabinetry here in the bathroom, and I'm kind of curious to know what's under that sink. Pardon the cabinet door in our face. We're going to get there in a second. So it doesn't go all the way to the floor. There's probably a water pump or something down there. But this is another thing I wanted to show for you. The all PEX on PEX plumbing. And you see how each individual water line has its own disconnect switch. So let's just say, God forbid, the hot water line to that sink. Let's say it develops a leak. You don't have to cripple the entire water system in the entire RV and lose your camping trip. You know, you might not get hot water in the bathroom sink, but you can still use your shower. You can still use your kitchen sink. You can still use all those features normally. Now, again, this space over here, I even though it is washer dryer prepped on a, you know, potentially stackable or whatever, this is just a really crafty, creative use of space. Because if you want a partial front hanging closet on the left, like we're doing here, but you're like, man, that's so deep. How am I ever going to use it? You can still use part of it in the bathroom or as a clothes hanging wardrobe closet, because this RV has no hanging wardrobe storage around the bed. So this space right here, I think, is potentially the thing that allows this RV to work for so many people that it otherwise may not have. You know, it's just one of those extra key little details that they've thought of and they've applied in this. Now, one of the other really great features on this RV is the near perfect road mode. Because even though this is a fairly big, deep slide, the fact that it's also a full-size body means that when you close that slide, you can very comfortably walk through here. If there's two people, you might have to do the sideways belly rub two-step. But from the entry door, we can get up here past the slide to the refrigerator, to the stovetop, to the microwave, to the full queen bed. And because this is the exact slide system, if you want to sit in the dinette or the theater seat or whatever you have here, you can do that while it's retracted. Now, obviously, you don't want to do the belly splash from the top rope. You want to be smart about it and use a measure of common sense. You know, it's not a challenge to see if you can break it, because then nobody wins. But you get the idea. The only thing you really lose is a little bit of chunk of storage down there, which is why I say this thing remains 99% functional and maybe not 100%. But I mean, you know, the bathroom door can open and close without the slide impeding. This thing has excellent travel access. And if you appreciate how we show you, we take the time to show you all the storage and the slides closed and all this extra stuff that we talk about. Hit that subscribe button, like our video, and, you know, just let us know you appreciate what we're doing here, and we'll hop outdoors.
Now, it's very common when I have a smaller, well, a big RV like this on a single axle. It feels a little bit spooky to some folks, and there's certainly a lot of people say, man, I prefer tandem axle towing for peace of mind. I totally respect that. And they make tandem axle models very similar to this, but keep in mind, Ember's well aware that they needed to put a big, hefty axle under this thing, and what I like is this still has about 1,400 pounds of cargo capacity. For an RV this size, I think that's reasonable, that's respectable, but I want to start going through some of the things that they've done different here, because again, I think the name E-Series hasn't done Ember any favor on these, because it basically means Essentials Series, which makes it sound like it was cheap and entry level. But we still have things like, you know, like dual propane tanks that very few single axle RVs have. It's the full 8-foot body. It's still, you know, it's extra tall inside. They are still using Asdel on the outer layer of the shell, like right below the fiberglass and whatnot. The underbelly's still enclosed and forced air heated. The nicer slam latches, the full camera prep, TPMS prep. They're still utilizing the better corner quick drop stabilizers as compared to conventional scissor jacks, and they're doing front and rear stabilizers that a lot of single axles simply will not do. Now, again, it is prep for some additional things, like if you want to add holding tank heaters or a solar package, it's all set for that. But if what you're looking for is a less expensive basic kind of camper, it can be that too. This is still, I think, a very respectable, decent front pass through, and I really respect how cleanly they finished that off in there, because again, this was built with an Ember price point in mind, but that's the thing. Embers are never going to be the least expensive little camper out there. Not the biggest awning I've ever seen on an Ember, but it's, I mean, they did everything they could. They couldn't put more on this. By default, it's only solar prepped. What we're looking at here is their optional extended off-grid package, where it's dual 200-watt panels on the roof, so 400 watts of solar, has a 30-amp charge controller, and a 2,000-watt inverter to be able to run the majority of the outlets in the RV. Now, I don't think that inverter is going to run the air conditioner, may not run that electric oven, air fryer, microwave combo, so kind of keep in mind, you know, if you want like an extreme hardcore off-grid thing, there might be a capacity. I haven't verified this, so I might be speaking out of turn. There may be the capacity that we could have this built with their max solar package, but we'd have to double check on that. I wanted to get up here to kind of point out, like, the stovetop does exhaust heat outside. Nice little details like that. The Goodyear Endurance radials down here, 87 mile an hour rated, which I think is overrated. Like, nobody should be towing this thing 87 miles an hour, in my opinion. It is a slam hinge, or pardon me, anti-slam friction hinge door. It is first thing in the morning, and my brain is not braining yet, but that's pretty much par for the course and very on brand for me. And this, I think, is interesting. Like, if you want to put in the washer dryer unit, yeah, obviously the hookups are right here, the power outlet's right here, or you could, like, if you want to get one of those like 12-volt freezer fridge chests right here, or if you want to build out your own storage arrangement, you know, or just generic big storage. Like, you could put folding e-bikes in there, I bet you. I haven't tried it, but I bet you could do that. Like, how would you use this space? I would be really, really curious to know that. Now, your roof, of course, is fully walkable. Another really interesting thing on all Ember construction, even here in the E-Series, is they use a Turnabond tape, basically, anywhere that there's a seam or lash point. So if you don't know what that means, where the rear wall connects to the side wall right here, most manufacturers have a strip of putty inside of that wall, and then you have the metallic and or plastic sealant and stripping on the outside. Well, Ember uses a all aluminum lashing on the outside, but underneath that, instead of a putty, which once it dries out and rots out, it's gone. You can't replace it when it's in the wall. They use a Turnabond tape that holds better, and it doesn't go away, essentially. That's kind of the name a Turnabond. Like, if you get in the used RV market, you'll find a bunch of older used fifth wheels and stuff like that, where somebody went through and just lashed a Turnabond tape all over their roof, and it works. It works great. Actually, I'm going to circle back on that in just a second. But the 300-pound rated accessory hitch on the back, another very nice factory standard feature on this little camper right here. But back to the Turnabond conversation. Don't take it from me, because like you could say, I'm a biased party. I try to be very fair, but let's just say, hey, this guy is a biased party. Don't take it from me. Look up an RV channel called RV Tips and Travels. The fellow there, his name is Ross. He has nothing to do with Bish's RV. He bought a brand new Grand Design Imagine and lashed that a Turnabond tape all over the roof of that sucker, and has never had a single problem with it since. I think his video is called something like, I quit sealing my RV and I did this instead. Check that out. That stuff is legit, and it gets the job done. This is a single sewer outlet, by the way. I realize I haven't been eyeballing that till now. This is not... the E-Series is the only member of the Ember family that is not guaranteed 0 to 100 degree rated. So what I can tell you here is that this is extended season rated. That's the best I can tell you. You might notice it is the cable slide system. This is the exact slide system rather than AccuSlide, which again has its own benefits. If you want to learn more about slide systems, I have a full video on that, giving you the breakdowns, the positives and the negatives both ways. I don't think Ember gets credit. Like the graphics package, the eye shadowing, they were one of the very first to do that in the marketplace, and it seems like nobody really gives them credit for it. But taking a look at the other side of the pass-through here, you're going to see a bunch of generally prep stuff, but like right here, We've got the solar package hardware. You've got the 2,000 watt inverter up top, and it is a Victron MPPT charge controller. So when they do use hardware, they use good stuff. This one is outfitted with the holding tank heat pad option. You can see the switch for it right there. They are thermostatic, so if you accidentally leave that on, no big deal. TPMS prep. I love how they put the battery disconnect up high so shifting cargo doesn't smash it. And you've also got the, what was I going to say? My brain. Oh, the TPMS prep module right there. I don't know. Again, my brain is not yet braining. And I'm trying to navigate my way. I'm in their PDI bays right now, trying not to stab myself on something sharp, because I'm just klutzy like that. So what do you think of this little thing? Like, did they nail it? Did they fail it? What's one thing you love, and what's one thing you wish you could change if you have a magic wand? Leave me a note. Let me know if you're willing. In the meantime, double, I don't even know what I was going to say there. Double, toil and trouble. My brain is turning into a bubble. Look at the links in the video description if you're curious about pricing and availability. And if you appreciate how we shoot you straight on this stuff, we try to tell you the good, the bad, with the ugly, with everything in between. Hit that subscribe button. And remember, like, if you're looking for other things that are smaller that have washer dryer hookups, any Ember with ETS or MSL in the model number now has washer dryer prep. It's a new thing that they started doing in the 25 season, and not all of my footage represents that. So keep that in mind. That's a rolling change that they've applied. And until next time, thanks again for tuning in. So take care, stay safe, have fun. Happy camping, everyone.